This course is designed for people working in the field who might unexpectedly encounter cultural resources or human skeletal remains. This is called an inadvertent discovery. The training provides guidance so that staff know what to look for and what to do if they find something. This video covers 3 major topics. Why is this important? What to look for? And what to do if you find something. Introduction. You may not often think about it, but this land we live on has had people living here for thousands of years. Sometimes we come across materials or sites left behind by ancient people, or even the bones of those people themselves. We call those materials or sites cultural resources. They provide important information about who those people were and how they lived, and perhaps even give us insight into ourselves. If we accidentally destroy these resources, they are gone forever, as by their very nature they are irreplaceable. Because of this, these resources are protected by law. If you work outdoors, you could accidentally discover something. This training is intended to tell you what to look for, what to do if you find something, so that resources are protected and so you can comply with the law. Archaeologists study objects and sites to understand the past, how people lived, and how cultures change over time. For some people, these are their traditional and ancestral lands, and the objects and remains are of their ancestors. Archaeological sites are like ancient books, and reading those books can educate us all. Old books are fragile, however, and can be destroyed if not treated with care and respect. Cultural resources can be inadvertently discovered at any time when you are in the field, especially during construction or restoration projects with ground disturbance. Cultural resources are protected by law. If you find something and don't stop, protect, and notify, you could be faced with criminal charges and/or fines. You don't want that to happen to you or your organization. Projects could be delayed unnecessarily by ignorance or improper handling. If you don't follow proper procedure, there will be negative outcomes such as cost increase, project delay, embarrassment, and damage to tribal or other relationships. Cultural resources include historic or archaeological sites and artifacts, sacred places, traditional use areas, and buildings or structures over 50 years old that may be eligible for the historic register. Cultural resources can be found anywhere, in forests, beneath buildings, on shorelines, or even underwater. They can be on public land, tribal reservations, or private property. They may be uncovered by nature or accidentally by construction or restoration projects. An inadvertent discovery plan, often called an IDP, helps people know what to do. The most important part of an IDP are the contacts that tell you who to call to get advice or notify when you find something. Usually the IDP will have pictures of what to look for and tells you what to do. Copies of the IDP should always be available for staff access. For example, in the truck or job shack. When starting a project, the IDP should be shown to and explained to all field staff. It is especially important that people closest to the dirt be informed. They are the most likely to see something. So make sure you have an IDP on site and that everyone knows about it. Cultural resources can be found at any time and at any place. If you are in the field and find something lying on the ground or coming out of an embankment that looks old or unusual, stop and follow the steps in your IDP. An archaeologist can tell you whether you have found something significant. If you are digging in the dirt and find something that is not dirt that looks old or unusual, stop and follow the steps in your IDP. Dark stained soils or layers with rock, shell, charcoal, or burned bones may be signs of use from people who lived here hundreds or even thousands of years ago. An archaeologist can tell you if you find something significant. If you find old, burned, or modified bones, stop and follow the steps in your IDP. The coroner or physical anthropologist can determine not only if the bones are human, but also how old they are. You might find bones that have been modified. Ancient people have used bones or antlers to make tools such as fish hooks, harpoon tips, or needles. Bones that are tools are often smooth from use and may have an unusual shape, carvings, or holes. You may find rocks that have been modified. People used stones for tools because of their strength and durability. Intact stone tools are rare finds. Most frequently, we find broken tools or pieces of stone from making them. Examples of tools made from stones include hammer stones, arrowheads, spear points, fishing weights, and even beads for decoration. You could even find some worked tools such as this pestle and hand axe that were found in eastern Washington. If you see a rock that doesn't belong, such as chert or obsidian, which are very brittle stones and highly valued for making sharp tools, stop and follow your IDP. In rare cases, you may find fiber artifacts, such as mats or basketry, that have been buried and preserved, especially in wet environments. Artifacts from history can be important too. For example, old-looking objects such as coins, glass, tools, machinery, bricks, and pottery can provide important information. From these objects, we can learn about the people who lived here back in the 1800s and 1900s. However, if you find objects that look like old munitions, do not touch them. Take a picture and notify your project manager or local law enforcement. There is a chance that old munitions could explode when handled, so it is best to call in someone with expertise. Sometimes you find remains of ships, old foundations, or evidence of other structures that may have significance. Wood and bark have been used for housing, clothing, and basketry making in the Pacific Northwest for ages. These practices continue today. Here are images of culturally modified trees, which are living cedar trees from which bark has been stripped or planks split off their sides. They are frequently found in old-growth forests. The IDP will have information that is specific to your location. Follow the steps. It will tell you who to contact and what to do. The basic steps are to stop work in the area of the discovery, protect the area from further disturbance, and notify the people listed in your IDP. Stop work within 100 feet of the discovery area, or a smaller area is okay if it protects the discovery. An archaeologist can help define the boundaries that need to be protected. Use people, tape, or cones to direct traffic away from the area. Often you can move work to other areas away from the discovery. Who to contact. When you find something, the IDP will tell you who to call. An archaeologist can help you assess your discovery. Often you can simply take a picture of the object with a scale. Even a common object such as a pen will work, and send it to them with the location that it was found. In most cases, an archaeologist can tell by a photo whether an object is a cultural resource or not. Be aware they may need to come and take a look at it as well. The Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation may be able to assist. A professional will examine the find and confirm whether it is a significant cultural resource. If it is not, work can resume right away. If your find is significant, they will take it into temporary custody and document the site. If it is a cultural resource, the archaeologist will set the boundaries of the site that need to be protected until the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation and the tribes are notified and consulted. Through consultation, there are a number of options that might occur. They could choose to avoid the area so that nothing is disturbed, or the find could be documented and relocated, or it could be taken into temporary custody with curation. You may need a permit from the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation, or DAP, to continue work in the area. What if you find bones that you think are human remains? In case of potential human remains, you will be calling law enforcement and the coroner. If you are unsure, you may also contact the physical anthropologist at the Department of Ecology and Historic Preservation to help determine if your find is human remains. They may ask you to take a photo with a scale in it and send it to them. Only take a photo upon their request, because taking photos of human remains is not permitted. Do not pick up or move anything. Follow the IDP. Stop, protect, and notify. Whether you find cultural resources or human remains, it is also important to know what not to do when you find something. Do not pick up or move anything. Do not call 911 unless that is the only way to contact law enforcement or the coroner's office, or you are directed to do so in your IDP. Do not call the media or post anything on social media. Do not take pictures unless directed by DAP or the site archaeologist. Do not share information about the find unless directed to do so by your IDP. In summary, you have learned that cultural resources are important and they are protected by law. This training has provided images of many types of cultural resources that you might come across. The Inadvertent Discovery Plan should be available on site and can tell field staff what to do and who to call if a potential cultural resource is discovered. The general steps are to stop work in the vicinity of the find, protect the area from further disturbance, and notify the people in your IDP. Thank you for protecting cultural resources.